says, in order to determine what actions are right or wrong, you must act with ifs and only with oughts. The rational thought process should be a theoretical assembly line, where maxims are raw materials, formulations are checkpoints, and moral obligations are the finished product. Lastly, the only obligations of Kant's theory of ethics are the problem of counterintuitive results and the problem of specification. For example, it is never okay to kill one in order to save millions of people, just like saying lying is always wrong in every situation. Now that I've concluded the first prompt, I will move on to the second prompt, which asks to explain and analyze the theory of utilitarianism. Please include discussion of main points, how to determine what is good and what action is right, and also explain at least two objections with two possible reasons for both objections. Utilitarianism is a consequentialistic theory that one should do whatever brings about the greatest possible balance of happiness over unhappiness, where everyone's happiness is counted equally. Before considering the contradicting objections, this theory seems to be the most legitimate in determining morality. The use of the hedonic calculator determines what actions are right and what is good or bad. For example, if you separated the pros and cons of going to school versus skipping school, the hedonic calculator would determine that going to school is indefinitely the moral thing to do. But just like every theory of ethics, there are always objections that complicate the guidelines of determining what is right and wrong. The first objection I will discuss is the problem of the utility monster. The utility monster is someone who gets a lot of pleasure from causing others to suffer or be upset. According to the hedonic calculator, the actions from the utility monster cause him more happiness than the people who suffer from his actions. Of course, we understand this is a problem, and the utility monster must not exist any longer. Two reasons to explain this objection is that utilitarianism does not account for rights or justice, and the hedonic calculator is the hedonic calculator is arbitrary, meaning that a numerical value can never be placed on happiness. The second objection is the fact that personal relationships are never taken into account. For example, if 5 strangers are tied to one train track, and your mother is tied to the other train track, which track do you choose? Most individuals would say to save their mother and kill the 5 strangers. Naturally, we would want to keep our mother around versus 5 strangers we've never met before. However, utilitarianism says that you should save the 5 strangers because conserving 5 lives is more legitimate than taking one. Clearly, this reasoning is a huge issue in many different decision-making processes. Two reasons to explain this objection is that utilitarianism does not account for obligations such as keeping promises, and that human beings have emotional ties to others. Thank you.